Hello, and welcome to another homework help video. This homework help video looks at calculating a closed economy's GDP, or income, given consumption, investment, and government spending. Before looking at how to calculate GDP, let's take a few minutes to review the concepts of GDP, how to calculate it, and a typical problem statement. Let's start by looking at the terms closed economy, GDP, consumption, investment, and government spending. A closed economy is one where the country doesn't engage in international trade, so the country does not export goods to other countries nor does it import goods from other countries. Gross domestic product (GDP) is the amount of goods and services an economy produces. Consumption (C) is spending by consumers on goods and services and has two components: consumption based on personal income and autonomous consumption or spending not based on income. Investment (I) spending by firms on investment goods such as machines and factories. The investment amount depends on the interest rate, the price of borrowing money. Government spending (G) is spending by the government on public goods like defense, healthcare, and roads. Now let's look at a process to find GDP, given consumption, investment, and government spending. 1. Write the expression for GDP Y equals consumption C plus investment I plus government spending G. 2. From the problem statement, substitute the value for consumption C into the equation. 3. From the problem statement, substitute the value for investment I into the equation. 4. From the problem statement, substitute the value for government spending G into the equation. 5. Add the values together. Now let's look at a typical problem statement. In an economy, consumption is 180 billion, investment is 45.5 billion, and government spending is 50.5 billion. What is the country's GDP? Let's use the steps from the previous section to answer the problem statement. First, write the expression for GDP Y equals to consumption C plus investment I plus government spending G. Second, from the problem statement, substitute the value for consumption into the equation. In the problem statement, the value of consumption in the problem is 180 billion. So let's substitute it into the equation for C. Second, from the problem statement, substitute the value for investment into the equation. In the problem statement, the value of investment in the problem is 45.5 billion. So let's substitute it into the equation for I. Fourth, from the problem statement, substitute the value of government spending into the equation. In the problem statement, the value of the government spending in the problem is 50.5 billion. So substitute it into the equation for G. Fifth, add all the values together on the right side of the equal sign. The sum of consumption 180 billion, investment 45.5 billion, and government spending 50.5 billion is 276 billion. So the country's GDP is 276 billion. The process of finding a country's GDP is relatively simple. First, write the equation for GDP. GDP equals the sum of consumption by households, investment by firms, and government spending. Second, substitute the values from the problem statement into the equation. Third, sum the values of the components of GDP. If you want to try a practice problem on your own, there is a link in the description below. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please put them in the comments section below. Until the next homework help video, best wishes on your economic studies.